advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Good afternoon. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. This is the news brief. The Chief Magistrate in Wuse Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, Abubakar Saidu Umar, has directed the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, to investigate a criminal conspiracy and threat to life allegedly perpetrated by Justice Danladi Umar against renowned human rights lawyer Femi Falana, SAN. Justice Danladi Umar is the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT. The court order was sequel to a petition by Falana to the Inspector General of Police alleging threat to life by Justice Danladi. In the court document addressed to Egbetokun, Justice Saidu Umar, through the court registrar, specifically gave the IGP 14 clear days to complete the investigation and report back to the court on or before August 24, 2023. Femi Falana had, in a petition to the then Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, dated February 27, 2018, requested for police investigation of threat to his life by Honorable Justice Umar Danladi, the then chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered police formations and commands to extract a letter of retirement from police officers who are due for retirement but have refused to leave the service. The police signal from the IGP office on Saturday said it is a disturbing trend that policemen who have attained 60 years of age or 35 years in service refused to quit. It said this is contrary to the provisions of the Public Service Rule, which provides that the mandatory retirement age for all grades in the service shall be 60 years or 35 years of pensionable service. Operatives of the Bayelsa Police Command have arrested a man in connection with the murder of the late Bako Angbashim, who until his death was the Divisional Police Officer of Ahoda Division. The police spokesman in Bayelsa State, Botswat Sinim, said the suspect, 43-year-old Onyekachi Kowa, believed to be second in command to the dreaded Icelanders cult leader Tubaba, was arrested on Saturday, 18th of November 2023 at his hideout in Yenagoa. It was gathered that Onyekachi had initially fled to Shagamu in Ogun State but returned to Yenagoa where he was laying low. The Commissioner of Police, Bayelsa State Command, CP Francis Idu, has charged police operatives to fish out any of his cohorts who are hiding in Bayelsa State, stressing that the Bayelsa State Command under his watch would not be a haven for criminals to hide. Meanwhile, the suspect has been handed over to the River State Police Command for further investigation. The federal government has reiterated its commitment to the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering, AML, in West Africa, GIABA, or GIABA, aiming to combat money laundering, terrorist financing, and arms proliferation. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi emphasized this during the inauguration of the 40th GIABA Technical Commission and plenary meeting in Abuja. Fagbemi, also the chairman of the Giaba Ministerial Committee, highlighted Nigeria's improved technical compliance, contributing to the completion of the International Country Risk Guide (ICRG) action plan. He stated, Nigeria will persist in providing necessary support to ensure the program's remaining aspects are completed, making Giaba a model of effective delivery in the next round of evaluations.
It is incumbent on member states to provide all support that is necessary for Giaba to conduct its work in a more effective and efficient manner. As a capable and technically confident organization, Giaba can and should put before the rest of the globe AML CFT network the aspirations and peculiarities of our region.
The chairman of the Taraba State Independent Electoral Commission, Dr. Philip Due, has declared the candidates of the People's Democratic Party in all the 16 local government councils of the state as winners of the November 18 local government election in the state. Declaring the result at the Commission's headquarters in Jalingo, Due said that the result for the councillorship election was declared at the ward level in line with the electoral guidelines. According to the result, as declared by the Commission, the PDP won in all the local governments by a wide margin and only trailed behind by APC in Donga local government area. Reacting to the result of the election, Governor Abu Kefa said the result of the election was a clear indication of the dominance of the PDP in the state. The November 11 governorship election in Imo State has been met with mixed reactions. The All Progressives Congress APC Southeast claims the election is free, fair, and credible, while observer groups argue it is marred with irregularities. APC Southeast Chairman Ijoma Aridiobu praised the Independent National Electoral Commission for conducting a peaceful election and appealed to contestants to accept the poll's verdict in good faith. The Pan-African Women Observer, on the other hand, who monitored the election, accused of significant irregularities, including vote buying, lobbying, ballot box snatching, and result tallying. Excellence is not a standard but a journey. It is a continuous process of striving for improvement, pushing boundaries, and setting new benchmarks. These were the submissions of the chairman, CMS Grammar School Merit Award 2023, Senator Akin Odunsi, in his opening remarks at the event which held at the school premises in Bariga, Lagos. Plus TV News correspondent Love Ikuku Oyeglokun tells us more in this report.
Grammarians from within and outside Nigeria are well represented here. The Venerable Adelaja Hall was filled to capacity with the old grammarians accompanied by their families, friends and loved ones as they relished the moment. And quickly they settled down to the day's business. First was a citation of the chairman of the day, Senator Akin Odunsi. Senator Odunsi commended the commitment of members to excellence, which he said has remained the driving force behind the growth of the school.
As we come together to recognize and celebrate excellence, we acknowledge the toil and remarkable achievements of individuals, sects, chapters, and branches who have demonstrated exceptional performance, ingenuity, and a tireless commitment to preserving the great legacy of our alma mater.
This was followed by an opening remarks by the President, Old Grammarian Society, OGS, Cyril Ogbekene. The president said the concept of the Merit Award was ingrained in the reward system culture of the CMS Grammar School as an institution.
In hindsight, most not all grammarians present here would agree that the concept of the merit award we run today is ingrained in the reward system culture of the service grammar school as an institution. And the truth can say the fact that the ever invigorating lyrics of the world's best school song resonates in the enduring culture of our family.
Now, the awards proper. The Outstanding Grammarian Award went to late Venerable Dr. Yinka Omololu. In the Individual Merit Awards category, Adesonya Laide, Madreke Chike, Iyonda Olujide were among those honored.
On behalf of the operators of State Grammar School, Bariga, Lagos, we present this award to our distinguished grammarian, Professor Adedele King, who came from 1978-87. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Alhaji Nnamu. This honor is well deserved and is long overdue. Congratulations on behalf of the whole Grammarian Society.
Some of the awardees spoke with Plus TV News. With so much nostalgia, they relieved how CMS Grammar School helped in preparing them for the future.
Awards like this are very significant because it encourages others to follow suit and to let you know that you are not a fool giving to others. So it kind of energizes you, it gives you more energy to do even more, So, and I pray by the grace of God, we have not started, we have only just begun.
With an air of fulfillment, the president of Old Grammarians, Cyril Ogbekene, spoke on the significance of the awards.
What we're celebrating today is excellence, is consistency, is focus and determination to be the very best that you can be. And that is what we are celebrating. We celebrate it for those who have left school. We celebrate it to inspire those who are still in school. There are people from the UK, Europe. There are recipients from OGS America, and in point of fact, OGS America has got a class or this branch set award. So that's as global as it is.
The first documented Old Grammarians Merit Award was held in 2001. Love Ikuku Oyedoku, Plus TV News.
From statistics available in the country, Nigeria post-harvest losses today stands at 3.5 trillion naira, meaning about 94.5 billion naira annual losses per 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory if shared equally. This is the submission of stakeholders during a conference on ways to achieve food and nutrition security in the country held in Abuja. Plus TV Emmanuel Ihijene completes the report.
The message was delivered by Action Aid Nigeria in collaboration with Small Scale Women Farmers Organization and the CAADP Non-State Actors Group at a conference in Abuja on Tuesday. Recall that in July 2023, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared a state of emergency on food security situation in the country. For now, the key areas to address these losses is to focus on reducing this alarming rate of post-harvest losses through the provision of access to processing and storage facilities for farmers in the country.
So we are talking about where there is quick win. Provide communities with processing facilities. If they are doing massively rice, provide them with rice processing facilities. If they are doing massively cassava, provide them with cassava processing facility. If it is maize, different value chain, and we can get that. Then you can also see that access to transport is only 10%. So we are in a dire situation. So imagine if we can save 3.5 trillion into our economy through this type of investment. This support should be given to cooperatives. Let them own it and run it.
One of the key areas for quick wins and results for our food and nutrition security is to focus on reducing our alarming post-harvest losses. Post-harvest losses is one of the foremost challenges faced by smallholder farmers, especially women in communities in Nigeria. It devastates our efforts and income, leaving us poorer and continues to hinder Nigerians' food and nutrition security.
The group also stated that 133 million Nigerians are living in poverty, and out of this number, 106 live in rural areas with agriculture as their major occupation, which is why the government must invest heavily in agriculture.
But Nigeria's economic growth has not delivered inclusivity, resulting in widespread and alarming poverty and inequality across the country. Economic growth can only be inclusive if it reduces both poverty and inequality. Therefore, if smallholder women farmers are to benefit from the implementation of this agreement, trade barriers facing women must be dismantled through adequate investment, public investment in agriculture, especially in post-harvest losses, reduction support. With this investment going towards processing facilities, storage facilities.
The group also made some recommendations.
The president and the state governors should take charge of the agriculture sectors for our food and nutrition security by deliberate massive investment, especially in post-harvest losses reduction. Number 3, the federal and state government should concentrate on small cottage processing and storage facilities in communities based on different commodities to be owned, operated, sustained and expanded by smallholder women farmers cooperative.
The group is convinced that with adequate processing and storage facilities for Nigerian farmers, the agriculture sector can contribute greatly to the GDP of the country.
From other parts of Africa, the UN mission in Mali has announced that it had left its camp 80 kilometers off the city of Gao in the north part of its complete withdrawal from the jihadism-plagued West African country. This closure is the 9th among the 12 camps they have in the country. The camp was handed over to the Malian authorities, represented by the prefect of Ansongo, by the head of the MINUSMA office in Gao, the largest city in northern Mali. The colonels who came to power in 2020 demanded in June, after months of deteriorating relations, the departure of the MINUSMA, deployed since 2013 in this country, to help in the fight against jihadism and the deep multidimensional crisis. We move now outside Africa, where Hamas gunmen have battled Israeli forces trying to push into Gaza's largest refugee camp, and at least 11 people were killed by an Israeli airstrike on a house, medics said, as hopes rose of a deal to free some hostages from the enclave. The Washington Post said that U.S. mediators were close to a deal between Israel and Hamas to free dozens of women and children held in hostage situations in Gaza in exchange for a 5-day pause in their war. The Post had reported that a tentative deal had been reached, but this was denied by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. officials, with a White House spokesperson saying efforts were continuing to clinch a deal. On Sunday, however, Israel's ambassador to the United States, Michael Herzog, said in an interview that Israel was hopeful a significant number of hostages could be released by Hamas in the coming days. In the meantime, Russian drones have hit infrastructure facilities in Ukraine in an overnight assault that caused power outages in more than 400 towns and villages in the south, southeast, and north of the country. President Volodymyr Zelensky congratulated the Air Force for shooting down what it said were 29 out of 38 Iranian-made Shahed drones in several Ukrainian regions between 8 p.m. on Friday and 4 a.m. on Saturday. Last winter, Russia pounded Ukraine with hundreds of missiles and drones, leaving millions without electricity, heating the water during the coldest months. The Energy Ministry said there was enough electricity in the system to meet the country's needs, but that the drone strikes deprived 1,550 consumers of power because of damage to the grid. In entertainment news, Maven record artist Charles Chibueze, also known as Crayon, is grateful he didn't have a successful career when he was first signed in 2019 by Don Jazzy. While comparing his career journey to that of Job in the Bible, Crayon stated that God was probably testing him like Job. The singer, in a post on his official X, explained that having a successful music career now is more satisfying than it would have been then. Crayon also revealed that he was addicted to illicit substances for years. He said he gave up the addiction after Maven Records. He said he gave up the addiction after Maven Records producer and CEO, Blowtime Imprint, Baby Fresh, who discovered his talent, advised him to stop. And finally, sports news. The Super Eagles of Nigeria failed to close the gap on group leaders South Africa after playing another 1-1 draw against the Warriors of Zimbabwe at the Hure Stadium in Bature, Rwanda on Sunday afternoon. However, it was Beltamar's Bito's men that shockingly went ahead after almost half an hour of play when Walter Musona unleashed a ferocious free kick display from the Warriors, while the Eagles looked helpless again in the search for an equalizer. It did, however, come from Kelechi Iheanacho in the 67th minute after a nice over-the-top pass from Joe Aribo to Moses Simon, who laid it for the Leicester forward to guide home and earning the team another point. Despite the draw, the Nigerians remain second in Group C of the World Cup qualifying series, a point behind South Africa, while Zimbabwe stays in the third. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on limex.tv and GoTV apps anywhere in the world. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Many thanks to you for being there.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria?
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Fever is a clinical condition where there's an elevation of the body temperature above normal. Many times, the regular body temperature is between 35.5 degrees Celsius to about 37.4 degrees Celsius. Anything above that can be classified as fever. In some cases, there's a difference between fever and hyperthermia. Especially when the person has been exposed to a hot environment, coming out from a hot sun, or a natural raised body temperature. But aside that, once there's a raise in body temperature beyond 37.4, you can classify that as fever. And there are several causes of fever in children. One of them includes sepsis. Sepsis means the invasion of the body by microbes, by bacteria, or by microbes generally, which could be either bacteria, fungi, or even virus. right? That is sepsis. Okay, it could be parasitemia, especially more in our local environment where there's malaria. Okay, it could cause fever. Other conditions could be dehydration is one major cause of fever. Just like your regular car, when there's an overheating, you know that the water is drying up. The same way it is even in a child, especially when they are dehydrated, they are prone to having fever. These are the major causes of fever. There are several other causes of fever that can happen, but key factors are one, sepsis, which is the invasion of microbes, and especially when there are open wounds, where maybe there's poor hygiene in situations where there's stooling and vomiting. There could be inhalation of microbes. An example, in cases of asthma, bronchopneumonia, there would always be fever. So most of these clinical conditions where there are infective causes will produce fever. Other causes, like I've just said, parasitemia, things like especially malaria, will produce fever. And lastly, dehydration will produce fever. Well, practically, fever in itself is a symptom. So what are the symptoms to look out for in fever? Is the raised body temperature. But more importantly, when there is a raised body temperature, it comes occasionally with some degree of weakness, some degree of unwellness. Many other times, the fever could come with thirst. There could be a need for a lot of thirst. That's when you also know that dehydration is one of the causes. One of the other things to look out for is any other surrounding symptom around that fever. And of course, any other surrounding symptom. For example, open wounds, like I've said, and any form of infection. First, every mother should have a thermometer. You don't say that my child has fever because you touched the child. Oof, it's hot. Fever is not measured by your hand. It's measured by a certain device called a thermometer. And it's simple. There's a handheld thermometer and there is the thermometer, the auxiliary thermometer or the mercury thermometer. Now, this particularly tells you this fever. The moment you notice fever in your child, that's not when you're rushing to get all kinds of syrup. The first thing is to expose that child. Now, one thing I failed to mention is that fever sometimes could come with chills, depending on the age of the child, come with chills. In worsened situations for older children, it could come with rigor. So that person, the child is feeling cold and asking to turn off all the fan, and in other conditions is already shaking. Now, this shakiness is because the body is trying to produce heat, and so is vibrating, all right? Now, when you notice that because the child is feeling cold doesn't necessitate covering and turning on the fan. No, that's even when you expose. That's when you want to tepid sponge. Tepid sponging means dipping a towel into normal water and tabbing over the body. It's not bathing with cold water or ice-blocked water, right? So you use normal water and tepid sponge, wrap around until that temperature comes down. If that temperature is not able to come down with that, you can advance to the use of simple drugs like paracetamol. The use of paracetamol has almost no contraindication, especially if you follow the prescription. So when you use it the first time, you could do as much as 6 hourly, all right? But if you do for 1, 2, 3 times, and this fever is relapsing and going and coming back with the use of paracetamol, I think that's the right time to go to your doctor. Now, many times many mothers want to use ibuprofen. I don't recommend that you go as far as using ibuprofen. You could use it, but use it on your way to the hospital to see your doctor. So basically,